All right, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to another Friday live stream. We got another awesome guest today, and I'm excited for this one. As always, I say that with everyone, but um, we let me just do a few updates, I guess. I did want to, you know what? I wasn't prepared again. I was kind of running and gunning really late on this one, but I wanted to just highlight a few of the people that are in the Start Selling Your Leatherwork group. Doing a little shout out. So let's see the ones that let me see where I left off here. All comments. So just for a little background, we've got an awesome Facebook group for everyone that's has enrolled in the Start Selling Your Leatherwork online course, and we have some really fun, engaging conversations in there. Basically anything to do with selling your work, the business behind it, content, social media, all that kind of stuff. We're having some really fun conversations in there. So I just wanted to highlight a few of the people, and it's not letting me pull it up. Here we go. All right. We got some good people in here. Eddie Ladson from Ladson Leather, Mauricio Gianni Johns from Rockers and Rebels Leather, Alex Civic from Ready Adventure Gear. What's up, Alex? Dave Schroeder Craftworks, Lakota Fox Leather. He's on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Malcolm Sutton from Mux Leatherworks. He's a good friend. Altimus Leatherwork. Ben from Altimus. Furman Leather. He's on Facebook and Instagram at Furman Leather. So there's a solid little list of people that are in that group, and we'll keep introing these live streams with those people because, you know, I love you guys, and I appreciate you being in there. Let me pull up here. See if we got some comments coming in. Brady Limebaugh's in the house. What's up, Brady? Okay, so we got a fun guest today. We got this guy's been around for a while. He's been making beautiful stuff, and there's a very specific reason why I wanted to highlight him. I mean, aside from just the quality of his work and his unique brand and his photography skills and everything included, but there's one very specific thing that I kind of wanted to dive into with him that he has done a really awesome job with. But I'm sure you know about him and probably doesn't need much of an introduction. We got Todd from Clever Supply. Let's bring him in. What's up, Todd?
Hey, what's up, Parker? Thanks for having me on.
So glad to have you on here. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking over the phone just through text and things like that for quite a while. We even tried to schedule a few phone calls and it just never worked out. So I'm glad we could make it work.
Yeah, totally. Super pumped to chat. And thanks for having me on. Yeah,
so I wanted to talk about one of the main reasons that I wanted to highlight you especially was because you've done something that this is something I try and stress in the course, which you've gone through, and you probably know what I'm talking about. I sound like a broken record, but I think one of the most important things for someone who's trying to sell your work and especially make a living, gain a lot of traction doing it, you have to pick a very specific niche or sub niche to dive into and really own that territory. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how you did that.
Yeah. We make leather camera straps. So started out like most everybody that starts out with leather, wanting to make wallets, bags, and just whatever I could put my hand to that interests me. And I have a background in photography. So over time, there was just this genuine interest to kind of like make a camera strap. And as I was progressing in the craft and just getting better and just exploring it more and figuring out what it was I wanted to do with it, I really just felt like I recognized like my personality type kind of gets bored of certain things. Like once I explore maybe like a curiosity of mine, like it used to be like a wallet, like figure out how to make the best wallet for myself. It pretty much just gets boring and I don't want to do it. And I get kind of like unmotivated. And so what I was finding is I kept making different products and I was interested in making them. So, and as long as I was trying to perfect them for myself, or like, I felt like I was really excited about it. And then over time, like I said, I was kind of I made a camera strap for a friend who happens to own a film lab here in Louisville. And he was like, dude, like I want to buy a bunch of these. Like, would you make a whole bunch for like me to sell like wholesale to my photographers that, you know, use the lab? And I was like, really? Like, it was definitely like one of those moments where I was like, oh dang, like that's awesome. And that was the beginning of me just kind of figuring out that like me aligning something that I really enjoy, that's photography, that I have like a deep kind of like history in. I did weddings for about like 8 years and like shot all throughout middle school and high school, kind of as a hobby. And so taking that passion and marrying it with leathercraft, really was something that felt like to me like I could do this for the long haul. And so that's kind of like what initially led me to being interested in pursuing the path. And then I also just kind of like recognize that I don't think I'm going to be the person that's going to do the best bags or the best wallets. Like I was, you know, you kind of we could talk about, there's a lot of layers here, but, you know, Instagram, wonderful tool, but it's also the comparison trap tool as well. And, you know, you start following tons of leather crafters. And I've heard this on this podcast, you know, this same story over and over again, Instagram kind of becoming like this like comparison trap. And I recognized that I was like kind of feeling crummy about the fact that like I was growing in my skills, but I wasn't super satisfied with how it was, or I was like maybe seeing other people that I looked up to or admire, or maybe they started the craft even after me, like just excelling, and I felt like I wasn't excelling. So you start playing this game with yourself. And I kind of wanted to be done with that too, because I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't enjoying the social aspect of the leathercraft community, when that side of it kind of started to reveal itself. And so I thought to myself, like, I'm just going to unfollow a whole bunch of like leather crafters and start following the people I want to follow. And that's other photographers, and really engage in that community. And I say to people, like, I felt like I was rolling the dice, which I really wasn't, because at the time I was still working a full-time job, but I was like, I'm just going to like lean in fully, to camera straps. And that realization happened after I launched a Kickstarter and, had a successful, like, you know, campaign and stuff like that. So I feel like I don't want to like go too much further. I'll let you kind of ask more questions.
No, I love this, dude. I love all of this. This is so, this is really hitting home, and I relate with a lot of it. I can't remember if we talked about it in one of the previous ones, but it might have been before the live. We actually had a little conversation here right before we jumped on, just so everybody knows. Sometimes we chat a little bit before we jump on, so I can't remember if I'm repeating myself, but yeah, I've done the same thing. I unfollow a lot of people all the time. I do it frequently. Like I'm constantly unfollowing and then refollowing people that, you know, I get inspired by, and it's very rarely just more leathercraft accounts. And I know that I hope that it doesn't hurt people's feelings, because I deeply love the leathercraft community, and it's such a big part of what I do. And so I love like seeing what people are up to, but there is that problem, like you're saying. There's the comparison. There's sometimes it kind of crushes creativity when you just see the same wallet or same bag being made over and over. And I think that what you did was follow your favorite photographers, and that gets you in the right mindset of like, all right, what do I need to provide for photographers? Where's the hole in the market? You know, how can I like kind of connect with photographers on a different level, as opposed to just trying to, you know, make the same wallets that everyone's doing. You know, it's a really smart move that you did, but I realize how it's kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because it sucks. You don't want to do it, but I think it's important sometimes.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I mean, there's a lot there we could dive into, but I feel like, with the Instagram thing, I definitely feel like, you know, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but in a very honest sense, it's like, it's more me, not you kind of a scenario, where it's like, it's the culture of social media that kind of, you're just being fed all this stuff that you've, you know, followed or whatever like that. And you know, social media just has such a way of like messing with you in regards to like comparison and stuff like that I feel like it's healthy just you got to get rid of it, those influences or those temptations to kind of compare, and then follow, or, you know, follow the things that you're going to be inspired by, or that are going to give you like just a different perspective than, you know, leathercraft.
Definitely. Yeah.
And then with like the niche like thing, it's such a weird thing because I feel like it's the conventional wisdom that we hear in marketing and stuff like that of like go narrow, go niche, find a target audience that you can serve. And it's true, but it also feels very, it feel like, I don't know if it's double-edged sword or whatever, but like it feels hard because you want to cast a wide net. You want to serve an audience. You want to capture as many prospective customers as possible. And so by me saying we pretty much make like 99% of what we make is camera straps, I'm narrowing my prospective customers to a very specific audience, and it's worked. It's been great. I have no regrets, and I think it definitely has kind of turned into why it's been the reason why we've been able to find some success. And like and again, I think you got to find, I would also add to it is like find like a passion market fit too. Like product market fit is important, of course, that's what people say, but a passion market fit is like me aligning something with the photography industry because I deeply care about it. I care about the artists. I care about what's happening in the photography industry. Like the things that are just, what's happening to artists on platforms or how they're getting paid, compensated. Like a lot of the social justice stuff happening over the last couple of years. We've seen like, women photographers getting more exposure, Black photographers, people of color photographers getting more exposure because they want to have that perspective and that side of it. And that's the stuff that really jazzes me up and I get amped up because it's like seeing the craft of this industry moving forward. And so anyways, I think that's passion market fit is like a big thing that I think is just awesome to kind of dial into if you can. And it's easier said than done, but
yeah, it definitely is, especially because for a lot of people, the reason you're getting into leather work or, wanting to sell your work is because you're passionate about leather work itself. And I think that's what leads a lot of people into the kind of, I don't want to say rut, because I don't want to like make anyone feel bad if that's what they're doing or focusing on, but that's including me. But what I wanted to say was like down the rut of just doing the same type of wallets and accessories that everyone else is doing. And the reason I stress this so much though is just because it's more of like learn from what I did, more an example of what not to do, because I feel like the fact that we did a Kickstarter on the wallets, and we did okay, and it really like kind of launched us into more of a sustainable business model. But the fact that we did wallets made it feel like I was almost casting too wide of a net, where even to this day, I don't know who my audience is. And that's a real problem. Ever since I started making YouTube videos and like, getting more in touch with the leathercraft community, that's kind of created this other side of the business where I know exactly who my audience is. And it's been really fun to engage. I know right where to find people and how to connect with people and what their problems and struggles are and how to serve them. And so that side of the business has been really rewarding for me because I know exactly what to do. But when it comes to just like selling general wallets, I've kind of lost interest in even like getting content and trying to push the products, because what do you do? I mean, how many creative shots can you get with a wallet? And it's funny because it's kind of a dying industry anyway. And I don't want to say dying industry, but it's a product that I could see disappearing in the next 10 years because people are just using their iPhones to pay for stuff. And, we probably won't even be carrying cards. So it's a really interesting concept. I like to think of wallets as like a thing that helps you learn the craft and learn some fun techniques. But I think what you did was so smart. And I'm curious to know what it is that makes it feel like it sounds like you have a little bit of reservations with having a narrow audience. Like what have you found is difficult by doing that?
That's a good question. I think the reservation was just at the beginning of like, okay, I'm going to get rid of the wallets off the website. I'm not going to offer bags. I'm going to actively tell people that DM me, no, I'm not going to make this belt for you. And obviously in a very kind way, but but like starting to turn down the work that isn't part of this, this like product lineup. And so I think that was scary because, I was selling wallets. I was selling, so you're just turning down business, I guess, to a degree. And you have to start building an audience that's very specific, which can be hard to do, like to pivot from, people that just like leather goods or enjoy, handmade goods that maybe they'll buy one for themselves. Maybe a year or so later, they'll buy something else for someone else, maybe a keychain, maybe, just different things.
Yeah.
And then saying to them, no, I'm not, I'm not your guy anymore. I'm actually your guy if you want to get a camera strap now. And it just took time to kind of work through that and just feel comfortable with it. But I also felt very validated by the Kickstarter. So the Kickstarter, I had developed my own quick release system for camera strap. I have one of the OG designs here.
Oh, cool.
So essentially it's like a little clip here, this little dongle that connects to cameras. And then it was like this grommet here.
Oh, yeah.
So just like real easy to just take it on, take it off. And when I launched it, I went through a number of iterations. When I launched it, I started getting feedback from people kind of just asking, like, would you consider adding the Peak Design hardware? So for anybody that isn't part of the photography scene or whatever, Peak Design is a company that pretty much founded themselves on Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah.
They
many times over, too.
Yeah, many times over.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the Apple of the photography world in regards to like just innovative products. They developed a lot of different things, and they developed this a number of years back, this hardware here, which you may have seen, and it is essentially a quick release system. So there's this dongle here, this housing here, and it's that easy. So why is that great? Well, if you're a photographer, you might switch between camera bodies. And so camera strap can just go between camera bodies. You might go from shooting over your neck to putting it on a tripod. The camera strap in the middle, around the tripod is just kind of annoying and gets in the way. So it's just once you use it and you shoot a lot, you realize like how much of like a just elevated experience it is.
Yeah.
And so anyways, people were asking about it, and I was kind of like secretly, it was like, well, my system is kind of meant to be like the alternative to Peak Design. That was kind of what I was going after, is like a handcrafted, handmade
version of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I just decided, though, I was like, okay, so I was essentially like doing guerrilla marketing, posting on photography forums, all that stuff. And I was hearing it from different places. So it wasn't just like one group of people like affirming everybody else. I was hearing it from just different forums. And essentially, I was just like, I'm just going to see what happens. I'm going to offer this as like a backer reward option. So like a week and a half into it, 2 weeks into the campaign, I launched it, and it was like instantly like 30% of the backers like converted or something like that within that same day.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, like we got something here. This is huge. And so it did really well, and people ended up like opting in for that. And I think it almost ended up being like, now granted, my following was really small then. I was going from like selling like 1 to 2 pieces maybe a week of something to then I had this Kickstarter that was successful, that was like well over 100% funded, but I think it ended up being like 70 or 80 straps. So nothing massive necessarily, but
that's a great start.
Helpful.
Yeah, that's what Kickstarter's
super
for.
Helpful. Yeah, just to kind of get that type of data to figuring out like, okay, there's something here. People are really interested in leather like camera strap with this hardware, because again, for context, Peak Design makes their camera straps out of kind of like a seatbelt material, like a webbing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't have anything like that on the market. And so I wasn't the first to do like Peak Design with a camera strap, but I kind of just leaned into it really hard. And so I launched it in the fall around this time, a couple years ago now, and fulfilled the orders, had the successful campaign. And then like the start of the new year, which was 2020.
Sorry, one sec, Todd. What's up,
good.
Guys? You're fine. Oh, okay. All right. We'll see you later. All right, my sister just popped in.
Oh, nice.
All right, keep going.
So yeah, pretty much I was wrapping up the Kickstarter, and at the end of the year, and I decided I was going to just drop my system altogether at the beginning of the year and just lean fully into the peak design stuff. And so that was, again, kind of one of those, that was the beginning of me, when I was said earlier, like me realizing that, like, okay, forget wallets, forget bags, forget belts. Like, this could be it. Like, this is all I want to do, first of all, because I love serving photographers, and the idea that instead of like it being a wallet, this backwards video drives me nuts.
I know.
Instead of it being like a wallet that someone just carries in their pocket, like it actually is a tool that they use to do their work. And so I started like getting photographers that I look up to, that I respect, using my stuff. And that was just like the biggest honor, right? It's like, I don't know, like people that you admire in either some other industry or in the industry that like use your stuff. It's just like kind of the biggest honor. And so that feeling is just amplified over and over again, whether they're a big photographer or not. And so that's just kind of what drove me to kind of continue to pursue it. So
I love that.
Just followed the passion, but also followed, I think, the data and the money. I'm not going to like pretend that it's not also about like trying to make money, because it definitely is. And so I saw that there was something there and realized like I need to like make a decision here to act on this. So
yeah, it's interesting, man. There's so many thoughts running through my head, but the camera world is something that's just been very tantalizing to me for so long, because for one, it's like, well, I'm the same way. I love photography and video. It's always been like a big passion of mine, but I love, like, what's interesting is the consumer world doesn't seem to have a problem with spending money on things that support their gear. There some people are spending up to 10, 20 grand on just camera bodies and lenses. So having the right equipment to carry it, they have no problem. Like, I learned all this from when I was the job that I got laid off of in order to do this full time. I was working for a company called Tamrac, and it was also had Guru Gear, which was like it was under the Tamrac umbrella. But anyway, it was so much fun because I got to work with professional photographers and go to workshops. And like, what's interesting is the bags that we would design, I had a hard time believing anyone would be able to, like, well, actually that's a Nomadic. The one I was using, Tamrac, it was like a $500 bag, and it's made of fabric, Cordura, good fabric. But still, I was like, we're putting this to market. We went to Germany and like had this massive launch party, and it was like this was the greatest thing to hit the photography market. And it was a black like fabric bag, and I just like couldn't believe that photographers were willing to spend $500 on a bag like that. And it definitely makes sense, once you learn about the bag and you learn all the, it all definitely makes sense. Camera bags have a lot to them. They're very technical and padded, and so many things go into them. But yeah, it just makes you realize like this is a different market than what we're normally used to, in the regular like consumer world, the discount stores, and like, you go to TJ Maxx and you can buy a wallet made by Levi's or Fossil or something for like $15. And so there's these different pockets in other markets. And I think the photography one is a really good place to be for you, because people value really quality materials and quality products. If they're going to spend $5 grand on a really awesome, like rare film camera or something, they want to put a strap on it like yours, as opposed to just some goofy, like free Sony one that came in their other package, it's like, it makes a lot of sense to me. There's so much that aligns with it. And I think you're in a really good place to really thrive and grow and have a sustainable product for a long time.
Thanks. Yeah, that's really cool that you mentioned that about just kind of like people willing to spend money, and like they value their investments. So they want to invest even more, honestly, in the investment for one reason or another. And that's one of our guiding principles kind of aligns with that a lot. And that's like, we want people to like feel like inspired to shoot more. And when I think about that, I try to like temper that because it's an aspiration, right? It's not something that like, I'm not going to try to make it out like that our straps are the end all be all, that like you're going to be a better photographer or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But think of like that favorite pair of boots that you have or whatever, like that new favorite pair of boots that you have. And it's like, you know, you just got them a week ago, and it's like, you look forward to going out the door and putting those suckers on because you know what, like you just feel great in them and they inspire you to like, I don't know, get out the door and just like enjoy a walk around the city or whatever. And that's kind of the idea of what I'm after with these camera straps, is that like this camera strap is an accessory, it's an attachment to it, but it also just like hopefully just beckons and calls you to be like, yeah, bring your camera with you. Like, don't leave it behind. Like, don't leave it like on the nightstand, like as you're walking out the door or, you know, whatever, because, you know, you're meant to bring your camera with you. And I see that a lot in the photography industry too. There's a lot of burnout that happens, whether you're a hobbyist that's hustling and shooting weddings and you're just tired of it, or you're just a professional and you shoot it. Like, people don't shoot, like when you're in it that deep, like you don't shoot for the joy and the pleasure of it. And our products, my goal, my hope is that like it helps you want to take your camera out the door, like not leave it behind. And so,
that's a good point. It's funny how that works, because I can vouch for that. We have like 2 or 3 Sony APS-C cameras, mirrorless cameras, that between me and my wife that we just kind of swap and share, and like some are out here in the shop, some are in the house, and we just like cycle them through. But there's one that has one of our camera straps on it, like a stock and barrel one that we made. And it's so funny because that's the one we go to every time, because like I know that I can just sling it around my chest and have it right here ready to go for anything we're doing. And I could just throw a strap on all of them, but it's weird that like I tend to gravitate to that one, not just because the strap's a utility and it's nice to, you know, be hands-free, but it like the leather, like the experience of having the strap on it just makes me enjoy that specific camera more. And just knowing that it's always right there with you. Like anytime we walk out the door for a walk or a bike ride, or we go to the, you know, to the zoo or to the beach or whatever, like I just make sure I have it on me and it's readily available. And I think it's weird how a strap can like be the cause and effect for that, you know, like making you want to shoot more and making you want to be more creative. So I think that's a really good angle to take with your products. And now that I've got one of yours, it might even happen more so, which by the way, this is probably a good time. Do you care if we do unboxing?
Yeah, let's do it. I've never seen someone unbox one of my products before. So
imagine if I'm just insanely disappointed. Like, oh man, what is this?
Man,
okay. So Todd sent me one of his straps. We're going to unbox it here right now. Oh, nice little muslin bag with the stamp on it. I forgot to show it. I was kind of just soaking it up myself. All right. What do we got here? Oh, yeah. See, it's got the Peak Design attachments to it. Beautiful leather. Is this Horween?
No, it's not.
I'm
going to let you guess again.
Okay. Hold on. I got to smell it.
Smell it.
Wow. You know, I don't know what that is, honestly. Hold on. Let me think about this.
You were asking me before we talked, is there anything that we can't get into? That's it. This is the thing that we...
Oh, it's the secret.
It's the secret sauce. No, I'm just kidding. It's Acadia English Tan.
Oh, okay,
Tan Harvest. So you've seen some of the Harvest stuff, I'm sure, but your English Tan one, that's maybe one of the newer ones last year or two that they've started making.
That's beautiful. It almost looks like Chrome XL or something. I mean, man, it's gorgeous. And I love the black hardware. I haven't really showed it in the camera. I've been just enjoying it myself here, but let me see if I can. So we've got that reverse thing is really hard to get used to. We got his stamp right there on the keeper, which is hand stitched on the back, black double cap rivets with the Peak Design attachment. Beautiful, dude. I just love it. It's so good. The simplicity is what I love too, man. Like I'm kind of picky when it comes to camera straps, because like I when I started trying to design one for ourselves, it was difficult to not try and go too much with it. Like have, you know, like a really intense shoulder pad and like all kinds of adjustments and stuff. But what I really love is just like the silhouette of it. When I'm wearing it, I want to just see like a single strap across my
Yep.
chest. And that's what this does, dude. I think this is
That's awesome.
just gorgeous. Well, thank you, dude.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
No,
this.
thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you dig it. Yeah, that leather, I mean, it took us a long time to kind of figure out like the leather that we wanted. I mean, the goal is like, you're going to put it on and you could go out and shoot for 8 hours. And
Yeah.
like, honestly, the last thing you want to do is break in some veg tan
Yeah.
when you're going out and shooting. Like, and so I know that's like a big thing in the leather community is, to like earn that patina and
Right.
earn that like break-in period. But for our camera straps, I wanted to find something that was more medium temper, and feels like, soft, but not flimsy. And so it's kind of just got that right balance. It's kind of got like a Dublin feel to it, kind of like a Chrome XL feel. So it'll still break in more and it will patina, but it feels great right out of the gate and isn't like, feeling like you got to really work it in to get it soft and feeling comfortable.
Yeah, it's a good point. You do have to find that nice sweet spot. That we've kind of been racking our brains, Whit and I, about this as well, because we love everything veg tan. We're kind of veg tan nerds. Like we just, it's like has to be, but then there's every now and then, like I'll pick up like a, just like a basic chap side, like an oil tan side that is all over the place. You can buy like them in mixed lots. Hide House has a ton of different ones, but I really like the feel of it just because it's kind of soft and plush. It like feels good around your neck. Like when you're holding it, it almost feels like a little cold because it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It feels like you can feel the wax and oil in your hand, but not that it's coming off. It's just, it's a good feel to it. And so it's a hard balance, man. It's really hard to find the right stuff. I think you did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think application has everything to do with it too. It's like for a wallet, maybe it's not the best, but if you're wearing it around your neck and like it's bearing weight around you, you want something that's comfortable. And so finding that right balance for the application is super key.
Have you found
that the weight? It's just like figuring out like the weight of your leather too for your products. You're not going to use like some 8-ounce leather on a bag, or something like that.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Have you found have you tested the stretch much? Like there's not much stretch on this leather.
There's a little bit. There's a little bit of stretch, but I think for the weight of like the cameras and stuff like that, it's not very much. Like you kind of have to like try, but there definitely is more of like a bit of a give than like a traditional like veg tan, or harness or something like that. Definitely, that's
Well, and the good thing is for a strap, even if there was a little stretch, I don't think it would bother anybody because like I look at this is a pretty heavy weight. For like a soft
5-6.
Okay. That's about what it looks like. But like if you were to do this for a belt and then you had stretch, you'd have problems because it's not fitting anymore. So I think this is the perfect leather for what you're doing. I really like it.
Thanks, man.
Dude, so I want to get into like camera talk a little bit. We might get some people tuning out, but I love talking camera gear. And I'm sure everyone's already noticed.
Speaking of camera gear, we're relying on natural light. Maybe should I flip on my light? Maybe.
I mean, it's up to you. It looks fine to me. Yeah. So, just for everyone listening, you might have noticed it's his. Oh yeah, that looks great. He was telling me a little bit about before we came on here, but you got that LUT coming right out of the camera or picture profile coming out of that Fuji. It just looks gorgeous.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm using my Fujifilm X Pro 2, and they have these film profiles. So when you're taking pictures, your still images and stuff like that, you can kind of set it to be a profile. So it's kind of like a preset or a filter if you're going to edit it. So it just kind of applies that right out of the gate. And their profiles are just awesome looking, and it applies it to the video for the live streams. So this is the classic Chrome profile by Fujifilm, which is cool. Yeah,
it's beautiful. So do you mostly shoot Fuji, or do you have anything else you use?
These days I shoot only Fuji. I don't have a ton of cameras these days. I have the X Pro 2 and I have an XE2, which is just an older camera. I have a couple film cameras too. I would like to get a couple different things. I've even thought about branching out to another brand just to kind of get a try. I came from Canon. When I shot weddings, I did all Canon stuff, and then the X100 we were talking about is there's one of their
Yeah.
smaller cameras.
Point and
It was
shoot
like
kind
the
of thing.
gateway. It was the gateway camera into me getting Fuji, because it's just very enjoyable shooting experience with that camera. So yeah.
Yeah, I need to try that one out. Because so much of what I do is based on YouTube, I feel like my needs are a little bit different, and I haven't looked too much into Fuji, but like everything I need is weirdly like not so much about, like I've never really looked into like the picture profiles and that kind of stuff. It's usually about like, does it have a flip up screen so that I can actually see what I'm filming? Because you got to be in focus if you're filming your hands working with something, and then like being able to shoot in at least 1080 and 4K is wonderful, but being able to shoot in like 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second is huge for me. So even with like the small point and shoots, that's why I've always loved Sony, because their tiny little like ZV-1 has like incredible capabilities with like shooting slow-mo. Still, you can 4K 60p. And then it has like a really good lens on it, 1.8, where you get really shallow depth of field, even when you're just like vlogging and stuff. So I really love it for that
vlogging,
kind of stuff.
I think for vlogging, you have to think of like your application again. And I think Sony really, I mean, Canon's trying to catch up from what I can tell. But Sony really kind of seems to really nailed it with like the vlogger camera, the video camera that obviously also takes amazing stills. So
it's funny though, because even though they have taken some stabs with that kind of world, like the YouTuber world, but it still isn't quite perfect. It's really weird. They just came out with a new one that's like the ZV or EV. I don't even know the names anymore, but they just came out a new one that's basically like the ZV-1, but it has interchangeable lenses. But they're still missing like a lot of the really key things that YouTubers like me want. But anyway, dude, yeah. So you're shooting mostly Fuji. What's like your what did you say the model is? X Pro.
X Pro 2. So this is a good few years old now.
And that's what you're using with like all your content on Instagram, like your product photos.
Yeah, I kind of luck out too, because most of my customers are photographers. So
yeah,
I get a lot of great, amazing user generated content.
Dude,
awesome customers. So I get a lot of that too, which at one point I was trying my best to like, post as much, create content, shoot stuff. And then it just kind of got to a point where I was starting to get like all these tags and images, and I just started building these relationships with my photographers. And let's be honest, as a photographer, who doesn't like having your work or your picture shared on someone else's profile?
My gosh.
And so it's just kind of worked out, and it's been great to be able to just share other people's work. I mean, obviously, usually it involves my camera strap being in the frame when it's on my feed, but it's cool. So I happen to have lucked out a lot there with that.
Yeah, you have. I've put a lot of thought into this stuff, honestly, because you can't ask for a better market to niche out to. I mean, you're getting people that, like, if you're building your business on social media and they're photographers and content creators, they're going to be doing that for you. And that's one thing I wanted to bring up too. Like being able to kind of narrow your market like you did and focus in on camera straps, which was beautiful. You've been able to, like, your website. I'm looking through your website right now, and it has a very specific focus, which I like. Like, as soon as you're on the website, you know exactly what you're getting. But then this is the thing that I wish, like, this is something I wish I could do, and I honestly wouldn't even know how to approach this for something like a general wallet brand. But what you get to do is have this trusted by section. I wish I had screen sharing on. I should pull this up. But you got the trusted by section. You've got the pictures of like Benj Heish and these guys that you get to work with. And that probably, that probably sells so many camera straps. Like having the trusted, kind of component there and having people here that are using them, that's got to be massive for what you do.
Yeah, it's huge. I don't know how much that particular section drives sales. I do think it helps a lot.
Yeah.
But you are touching on something that I think this is like, we stumbled into some success here with this like situation. But essentially, if you think about leathercraft community, and you kind of think of like how there's parallels with like all these niche communities, like photography community, leathercraft community. It's like, I, as a leather crafter, look to you, Parker, as like, someone I respect, and like, I will look at the tools that you're using. I will look at the things that you're using, and it'll influence how I purchase or how I make decisions. The photography culture is insanely referral based friendly, in the sense that like, if you think of photographers, they get their gigs through word of mouth, through referral. So referral is part of how they survive, how they thrive, how they grow.
Right.
And then you look at other photographers, like this situation of like kind of like the up and comer looking to the veteran. And, so you look on YouTube, or you look on blogs, or you look on, social media. What are the veterans saying? The gear they're using, the tips they're using, the techniques, these different things. The photography community is very, very like drawn to that as well, like learning from each other, learning from others. So we have fit really well into a very like just warm, I would even say hot, referral based culture. And so that when I work with photographers, like that have like a bit of a following or a bit of like an audience, them sharing about our stuff is just huge for us. I know that's the truth for like any influencer marketing, and it's the truth from like, some big influencer grabbing your product and deciding to post about it, and like they explicitly mention you or whatever like that. But I think we just do really, we've grown a lot over the last couple like year and a half or so, because we've built some relationships with some photographers that have big followings, and they've just like, unabashedly said, shared about our stuff, or people see it on their they keep it on their cameras while they're on camera, so that it's just on display. People ask about it, and people trust that. And so we've really benefited from that whole like affiliate marketing, which sounds really like yuck, but it's
but
like,
I know what you
it's
mean.
just different in that culture. Like in that culture of the photography world, like it's not. It's just, this is how the world works for photography. Like people are always getting advice or tips or like insight from each other, and that's how the referral like situation works. And I think that's how it's meant to work in every kind of industry and every niche. It just sometimes feels a little more forced, or a little more like plug.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. And we need a better name for it than affiliate marketing, like, because the way I see it is more like
marketing, maybe. But
but like I see it more like relationship based, where I think like, well, okay, so just as an example, like what I have this other side business called Buscadero that's gained so much traction, I can barely keep my head on straight. It's been growing so fast.
You made me want to get a bike so bad.
Oh, good.
I rode dirt bikes growing up, and I haven't ridden a bike since like high school. So we're going on like,
dude, that's
like over 10, 15 years now. But I'm like, oh man.
That's the hope of it,
because there's such a vibe to that brand. It's so great.
Thank you, man. It's supposed to just kind of spark that, like whatever gets you excited about being on two wheels and having fun, not really about like racing specifically or like anything too serious, just having fun on motorcycles. But what's crazy is like the natural relationships that kind of came up. And I can actually talk to you about this because you probably know some of these people. Being a photographer, usually it just goes right over people's heads. But like we had some guys reach out very naturally, like Theron Humphreys and Alex Stroll, Eli Clark, and Isaac Johnston, Aaron Brimhall. Like I don't even know. It's been ongoing, constant. Peter McKinnon reached out last week. These people that, dude, just out of nowhere, and it's a very natural thing. And what the reason I think it works is because it's a more niche thing, like we've been talking about. But the way, like, I've been trying to be very careful about how I handle it. I don't want it to feel like this official, like, hey, we're a brand and we're trying to reach out to get ambassadors on board, and we'll pay you X amount if you post about this, and it's this very like cut and dry kind of thing. I think when it works the best is when you build a relationship very naturally, and it's like, like, hey, I got to go out and actually ride with this guy, and we had a blast, and then we, took him out to dinner after, and we got to know each other. And I think the person is a lot more likely to help share. Like I'm just picturing like Benj Heish probably, I don't really know the relationship between you guys, but I imagine because he knows your story and knows your face, he's going to be a lot more likely to recommend your strap than like Peak Design, just or something like Peak Design, just because there's no personality behind it or backstory. They don't have that like personal connection or friendship that you guys have, or like what we have with the Buscadero stuff. And that's honestly like, I don't mean to like talk negatively about Stock and Barrel, because we've been doing great and I love, it's been my life's work. I love it so much, but like, I don't know how to do that deal. We've had like men's style people that have kind of reached out and wanted like to feature a bag and their whatever. And like, we've sent out lots of product, dude, but we rarely get anything back. And I think that it kind of taps back to what you were saying, which is like a camera strap's pretty utility. It's more of a tool. And so when Benj goes to a photo shoot, he's actually using it because it's helpful to him. And you're actually like solving a problem, but also helping him feel good about himself while he's shooting. And that's the kind of thing, like, I don't know, man, a wallet, a bag. I'm just not sure that it's, and maybe I'm just thinking about it all wrong, but like the ones that we've sent him out to, it's really hard to build a relationship because we're not like creating this useful tool or building the relationship behind it. It's just, it's been tough to work with ambassadors or affiliates, however you want to say it. And I think it needs to be a natural thing. So that's why being in the photography world, you're in such a good position. And again, like you're going to have these people, talking you up to the moon. Any event they go to, wedding, whatever, they're going to be showing off their strap. And that's a beautiful thing that you've, kind of stepped into.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. I think you said a couple of things there. I think you're spot on about like just building the relationship naturally. And the question is like, how do you do that to start? Like, how do you start the relationship?
Yeah.
Like,
I wanted to ask you about that.
Because I don't know if I have all the answers, but
well, how about just like with Benj? Like, what was your relationship with like him?
Benj was the photographer. I'll put it this way, in a way that'll make you blush. He was the stock and barrel of the leather community.
Shoot, dude. Come on now.
I'm sorry, of the photography community. No, but I mean, he really, I mean, if you've seen any of his work, you can see he's obviously an amazing wedding photographer.
Yeah.
When I got into weddings years ago, I mean, he was like one of the OG photographer, like wedding photographers on IG too. And so, I mean, we're going like over 10 years ago, I've known who this guy was. And he was like the guy that you wished you could be, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And so fast forward to, I'm out of the photography industry. I'm working a full-time tech job and I pick up leathercraft and now I'm making camera straps. I decided to reach out to him with this first prototype design. So before the Kickstarter, I reached out to him and I think the message went pretty much like this, like, hey, I've admired your work for years. I would love to send you a camera strap I'm designing. Really just would love to get your feedback if you'd be open to it. No strings attached. And that's just kind of try to keep it short and sweet. Try to keep it like no expectation, and just kind of like filled with gratitude. Like it'd just be an honor to like just send you something. And that's kind of like the approach that I've taken with everybody, is just like, because it's true. Like I would love to just like Peter McKinnon, I would love for him just to use my strap. Like if he never posted about it, like that would just be an honor to know that he even like wore my strap. Like that's just how I feel about like photographers using my gear. Like if they really feel like it's enhancing their like their workflow or whatever like that, to me, it's like, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And so anyways, he responded, he said he really digged my work. He digged my straps and I sent him a few, and I lucked out with Benj. Like he is such a great dude, such a genuine guy, just gives a damn about the people that he interacts with. And he also just happened to have lots of thoughts and was willing to give them. So he informed like a different iteration of the strap that I just had there. And so the one on the Kickstarter was actually the design that he helped inform. It was essentially just switching the hardware around a little bit to different spots. So he gave me a lot of early on feedback, and we just kind of built a relationship around that. And every time I get like a new product, I send him one. And then in October of last year, so we had done a discount code with him just a couple times. I'd said, hey, if you want to like a discount code, like be happy to give you one. After that worked out a couple times, I looked into like through Shopify, like an affiliate program. So I use Enlistly. There's plenty out there, but I use Enlistly. Essentially just helps email, generate a unique, like a referral link.
Yeah.
And I set up like a commission for him. And so now he drops his links into his YouTube videos and he gets a kickback for every referral that he has. And so that to me has always just felt like, now that we've figured that out, it feels like I'm asking something of someone, but they're only agreeing because they dig the stuff, but it's also, they're not just doing me a favor. Like they're earning legit commission.
Yeah.
To where
yeah.
like I've paid out like $500 in a month to Benj before.
Wow. That's awesome.
I don't know if I should say that.
Yeah, I'm sure you won't
like
mind.
just based off like a 5% commission. So like you can kind of, if you really cared, you could do the math there and see like, okay, he's driving like a lot. Like that's obviously certain month. Like that happened to be a month where he did a feature, like specifically shouting out my video, my camera straps. He like demoed them, showed them off. So that's like not necessarily the every month after month kind of scenario, but it's just an example. And it's like, oh, cool. Like I'm compensating someone now for like helping support the brand and helping us grow the brand. And that feels really great to be in that position, because it's not like just someone's doing me favors now, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's the tricky thing is like, I guess the way I'm tying that all in is like building that relationship naturally and figuring out like, how can we make this worth your while? You know what I mean? Like if you're going, like, we don't want to like, just, it feels unnatural, I think, to just ask for handouts or ask for favors. And I think that's the thing that's like really tricky to like figure out. And so in my particular context, I think this could look different for everybody. Like you got to figure out like, what's that look like in a motorcycle shop kind of brand. Like that's just different. Like I can send a strap to someone, you know, in a week. Like you can't send someone just a motorcycle. So it's like, what does that look like? But it's just figuring that out. I think. But
like in an ideal world, you end up with people who they're not like creating advertisements for your product. They're integrating it naturally into their life. So they're, you know, filming some video of them doing this beautiful shoot and your straps right there front and center. And that is invaluable, or that is highly valuable. Yeah. It's just priceless. I mean, you can't, that's one thing, like that Buscadero thing is, I'm kind of in a partnership with my parents. Not kind of, I'm in one. I did it with my parents. It's been a really fun thing. And, you know, it's funny because we, you know, they've been really cool about it and like very on board, but sometimes I feel a little nervous to, you know, ask them like, you know, I want to work with this person, and it's really hard to put a monetary value. Like, look, if we go out of our way to work with this person and spend a lot of money to do it, I don't know that we're going to be able to put an exact monetary value. Like, yeah, you're going to spend X and make X back. But there's something happening, like when our name and our bikes and our logo or whatever just keeps showing up in all this really cool content, and it's recurring and it keeps popping up in people's minds whenever they think having fun on a motorcycle and Buscadero comes up. That's the kind of like priceless marketing that you just can't put a number on. You just can't even, it's hard to even measure. And so yeah, I love it because then I don't have to be a salesman, and you know, you don't have to sit there on a video and go, here's why you should buy a strap. You know, instead it's like you got these incredible photographers out there just using them because they genuinely like it, and that says more than you could ever say on camera. So totally. I think that you're smart leaning into that, and the affiliate thing, we should do, you know, check back in a few months and see like what's changed and if you've leaned more into it. And like, I'm always curious about this because I set up an affiliate system on our Stock and Barrel website recently. I just haven't done anything with it yet, but I am curious to know how it works for you and if you, you know, grow it, or, I mean, is that your plan? Do you think you'll kind of lean into it a little bit more, or what do you have planned as far as growth goes, the scaling?
Yeah, good question. I was literally talking about this with the wife, my partner, in this whole thing. So like the whole there's a couple different routes that I see in 2022. Jeez, 2022 is coming up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Ridiculous. 2022, like the big things for us are, yeah, we'd like to grow more partners that are excited about our brand, but that's kind of what we've been doing, and that's working. And we want to just kind of like, we want to just continue to massage that and see how that continues to work out.
Yeah.
But then, I'm exploring like, what does it look like to try to get into like a B&H photo or a moment, you know, like kind of like something like that. So that's like that's the wholesale angle, is like figuring out, like, we've gotten a couple camera shops, one in Utah, actually.
Really?
Picture Line.
Oh yeah. I know Picture Line. Yeah. I've been there many times. That's cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So we're in Picture Line, which is cool. It's like one of the few brick and mortars that we have a relationship with, but they found us through an article, and it just kind of was cool. But going that angle, so we're exploring that. We want to expand more products too. So it's like, how many camera straps can this guy make? Like, it's kind of like, you know, we kind of got to line up. It's pretty lean, but it's like, how many different things can we do? And so I want to eventually offer like a harness strap. That's kind of in the works, prototyping that, trying to find something that's different than what's on the market. Like, I know you're friends with Weston. Is it Weston? Rosanville. I mean, he did an amazing job with that. Kind of just, I think he really set the bar for like, how can you take something that exists on the market and elevate, but also have a different flavor on it. You know, from like the hold fast gear, which is like kind of like the staple. So I want to do that, and I think the Peak Design integration is kind of like the, you know, that's the thing. But
because
there's not really one out there that does that. But
well, dude, in Peak Design, I just got to say, like, Peak Design's for people who don't know the photography world, like, it's such a standard. Like, like, and this was how many years ago? In 2015 or 2016 is when I left Tamarack. But just like being a part of the photography world, dude, everybody had Peak Design. It was just the standard. Like, if you didn't, it was crazy. There was even a guy that worked there that was he helped co-found Black Rapid, I think. And even he had some Peak Design, you know, the attachments on his camera. I was like, hey, man, it's crazy. Funny. Like, it's just a standard, man. And so I think you're really smart for you know, adapting with that as well.
Yeah. I guess the only other thing I was just going to say as far as growth is we're just trying to play with other things that are just like, throw it at the wall, see if it sticks. And I stumbled into something. So one thing I'm going to try, I'm working on a relationship with a bigger photographer about like a signature strap.
Oh, that
could be huge. So that's like one thing. It's like, what does that look like? How does that work in regard, just exploring that whole business side of it, like their compensation, their cut, you know, so that's one angle. And then the thing that I just threw against the wall that just surprised me is I got some Horween Essex not too long ago.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I just decided I was going to throw it up and like make it a limited edition thing, and people just started eating it up. And I've done this before with other leathers, but it was just like, it threw me off guard because I don't really consider my market to be like the people in this room, like the people that are crazy about veg tan, crazy about a patina. Like, most of them are photographers looking for just a nice strap. Which color do you want is kind of like what it comes down to. It's not like the everyday carry, like patina earning cup of folk. That's at least that's been like my perspective. But we just had a really good response just all over Instagram about it. And it was just like the first time it was like, oh, I'm just going to throw this out there. Like, see if anybody bites, expect maybe a couple orders. And we got like quite a few. And so it's just like, okay, like, keep trying new things is essentially what I'm getting at with the growth strategy. Try different things and see what sticks. And that was just like an example of one of those things where it's like, oh, I decided to do the Peak Design thing on the Kickstarter, and like the data surprised me. And this was kind of like another one of those things of like, try to change it up, you know, like try to change it up with what you're doing, offer like something maybe very different and see what happens. And that's just like another, I guess, like my other angle for growth.
I love that. That's smart. I think the limited edition route is a good way for you to go too as well. Cause like you said, how many camera straps can you really make? I think you get like a few staple products that work really well. And then you can offer limited editions of different types of leather or whatever. But dude, the scarcity factor is one of those mental triggers that works so well. Weirdly for us, man, like almost accidentally, we run out of stock of stuff, and then we'll like have our list that says, notify me when you're ready, when it's back in stock. And that tool alone has been like one of the strongest marketing tools we've ever had in our business, because there's something about something not being there that makes people want it. And then there's something about having a limited number that makes you jump in and want it even more so. And so that, I think that mentality of like, hey, we're only going to make, 10 of these, and it's in this really special leather, like Essex or something. And then when it's sold out, it's sold out. And maybe you do a run again, a couple years from now, but I think you can really leverage that scarcity factor and go a long way with that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like the Peter McKinnon. We talked about Peter McKinnon, his like Pirate Life brand. I mean, that's just like
the drop models.
The epitome of like the scarcity model. It's just like where they're just like selling out in minutes.
It's wild, dude.
People, and it's awesome. It's so cool to see someone like come up with like products and collaborations and stuff like that, and then see that happen. It's very inspiring when I see that. You know what I mean? Because it's super cool. But
yeah, I agree, dude. It's interesting. It's one of those things that's like scary to do though. I've thought about that. Like you have this amazing new product that you're really excited about launching. What's up, Michael? And then you have to get yourself in a place where you're okay with limiting it. That's a scary thing, and I don't know how a lot of people get to that, but it's definitely like in the YouTube world, that's a massive model. Like Peter McKinnon's one of them, but almost all the big YouTubers are doing that, where they're like, here's this product I designed. We're only going to do X amount. Once it's gone, and you'll never see it again. It's like, how do you cap yourself like
that's
that?
Hard.
It's crazy.
That's hard. I always
I think
put a disclaimer in there. It's like, if y'all respond well, we'll figure out a way to bring it back. It's kind of like, because I don't want to like jerk people around into like faux scarcity, when it's like, I can get some on order tomorrow and we can have plenty more if we want to. Like sometimes there are certain situations with leather where you can't do that, but it's like, if people respond to it. My limited edition model is definitely more trying to figure out like the data behind, like,
for sure.
Oh, do people like really get excited about it?
Yeah, but we're gonna try out this leather, see how it goes, and if it does well, we'll bring it back. It's kind of like the McDonald's model. They do that, right? It's like the McRib is back because it.
Oh, the McRib. That's
dude. I think that's fascinating. I think I need to lean a little bit more into that, but what's funny? You mentioned like the faux scarcity, and I agree. I really don't like that. There's in the online entrepreneur kind of world of like I tried learning a little bit of this kind of stuff when I built the online course, because a lot of people were asking, how do I do this? And like, I'll just create a course to help out, but how do I market it? And there's so much of that like faux crap out there where they're like, just limit the course, like only allow 10 people to buy it, but then you price it like something insane, like 10 grand. You're like, I don't want to do that, because everyone knows you can't limit a digital product anyway, and I just don't want it to seem disingenuous. And so I've had to like really navigate that stuff a lot, but those mental triggers are really huge, and a lot of it's real, especially in the leathercraft world. Like these things are actually limited because you're making them with your hands, one, and then two, leather's hard to get a hold of sometimes, especially in like big quantities. So I could see some really cool stuff coming out of that. Okay, dude. Well, so what's next? So you said, you're thinking about doing some big collabs with the photographers, or anything else coming down the line?
2021, I'm hoping to work with someone to design a bag. I'm just gonna like be 100% honest about it. I'm not gonna try to build one. I'm not gonna try to make one. The biggest reason for that is our production keeps us insanely busy. Like we don't have downtime, which is great. It's a great problem to have. It's me and my wife making everything right now, and we have it dialed in, but like just working on this harness strap, like just finding the time to like prototype, and get out of the space of like production has been super hard. And I just know like bags are just like, I can make a tote. And I'm very honest and like open about the fact that like I'm not a bag maker,
Yeah,
And
you
I
don't need
think
to
it
be
would just
ashamed with that either,
it would
dude.
just
Like,
be, yeah, I think it'd be a deterrent from the business if I was to shift my focus to try to learn to become one, to
yeah,
make something that like is really like, hopefully awesome, that, is going to compete with what else is out there. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like this idea of like blending materials too. So I do think like some canvas with leather
mhm,
accents, kind of like if Filson made a camera bag, is kind of like
yeah,
my
yeah,
vision. And so
yeah.
working with a like a bag designer on that. I actually know Steven from Bag Buff, who I know you interviewed.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We've
He'd be a
talked a
good one
little
to
bit.
know for that.
So him and I have chatted a little bit. So I think he's kind of someone I'm going to be chatting a little bit more with for sure. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting. I just see like there's a interesting gap there as well, where it's like where Peak Design kind of did the straps, and they have this innovative hardware, but they didn't create like an option for like legacy materials like
Hmm.
leather.
Yeah, yeah,
I see that with bags too. Like most of the camera bags out there are very high tech. They're awesome. Nomadic just
yeah,
launched with Peter McKinnon. Peak Design has a whole bunch. Like I feel like on Kickstarter, there's a new camera bag like every month.
yeah, yeah.
And it's like they aren't the same. They're different, but they all kind of have that look and feel of like a very high tech, high function kind of
Yep,
bag. And
yep.
so I want like, how do we bring that like philosophy to like a heritage style? And I
Hmm.
think Ona bags, if you've heard of them, they're probably the
Yep.
closest out there to like doing that.
Yeah.
But like, what's it look like to maybe figure out something else on our own? So
Dude, I could talk about this stuff with you for so long. I've been thinking about this exact line of, this train of thought for years, like ever since the Tamarack days, because we did the same thing.
mhm.
Like I got to know the Ona people a little bit. I really like what they do. Their stuff never, like, I still felt like there was room for someone like you or Stock and Barrel, which is, that boat has sailed. I won't be doing it anymore. So we're not, we're not bumping elbows here, but um I think that there's room for someone like that to put out something that's a little bit more rugged or heritage or whatever. Because the Ono ones are great; they use really awesome leather, but you still have like that sense that, oh, these are mass produced.
Yeah,
They use like really. I don't know. I don't want to say too much because I really like Ona and I love the people behind it. I think they're doing awesome stuff. My point is, I think there is room for like a really rugged heritage style, like you said, legacy type materials, where canvas kind of stuff. Exactly what you said. The Filson camera bag kind of thing like needs to be out there, but one that's really well thought out. Because I think if Filson did it, it would probably be like a throwaway thing because they have so much
sure.
other stuff. They have such a
Right.
massive catalog. It would be like, okay, I guess we'll do a camera bag. But I think
Yeah,
if
exactly.
somebody like you who focused on it and put a lot of thought and care and attention into it and had the backstory and everything, I think there's a really nice little spot there in the market for it. And I'm
Yeah.
surprised that there's not more out there already. Like Ona really is like one of the only leather bags you can find in the camera world.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's some very high end ones, and most of them come from Europe, which I'm sure are incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there's not much out there right now. But yeah,
Yeah, it's
I had a
exciting.
question for you if you're down.
All right. Yeah, man. Hit me.
So, we've talked about, you say it Buscadero, right?
Yeah.
Buscadero, and that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of been like you've had like some light bulb kind of moments with like, niching and like,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to do that. I've also noticed you doing that within the leather community. I mean, you're serving us, you serve this community really well. I think you do it very naturally.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
that's part part compliment, but part like, yeah, I'm putting you on the spot here, but like, do you feel like that's like something that you like, is that a stock and barrel kind of like direction that you foresee like over the next like handful of years that you really want to double down on and invest in? Like, I'm just kind of curious what
Yeah,
your
that's a good question,
long-term
dude.
vision is for like
Um,
serving this audience. Because I look at the only other thing I'll just say is I look at Justin, from Make Supply, and I think
yeah.
like he's done it too. Like that like what we're talking about on niching down is like he's serving the leather crafters, not like the people wanting to buy leather goods, but the leather crafters. And I think that there's just something really interesting that you've been doing with, I think you do an awesome job of just making so much available for free, which is just insane. Like, I think you just, I mean, I don't know how much value people will get from hearing me talk, but
I get a lot, man.
The spirit of this, I think, is just, it just bleeds into all the stuff that you touch. It's just really trying to help everyone in a genuine way. And so, just kind of curious, like, what's your, like, obviously there has to be some passion there. Like, I think I tell you care about it. So.
Yeah, I do, man. I don't know. I have so many thoughts running through my head about it, but, like one of the main things that I shouldn't say one of the main things. I've seen a few accusations of like, ever since I launched, we started selling a course of how to, start selling your work. One of the things that I started getting accused of was, it looks like the only way to actually make money in leathercraft is to talk about selling leathercraft or something. And that's kind of a common theme in the online world anyway. People like, you have like photographers who are like selling their presets and, in like workshops and stuff. And you're like, okay, well, they'll be like, here's how to make, 6 figures a year by doing wedding photography. But behind the scenes, they're probably making 6 figures a year selling their course. And so there's this like thing that almost feels disingenuous. And I think that people wonder that about us. And I'm 100% open to talk about it because, yeah, dude, there was nothing sneaky or shady going on. Like, all it came down to was, here I am selling my products, selling wallets, accessories, whatever, everything under the sun that we made. But when I started making videos on YouTube about making products, I started to see this massive overlap, which was like, so for some reason, the people that are watching me make products are also buying our products. And that really caught me off guard. I couldn't have foreseen that in a million years. Yeah. I know there's something to the fact like, oh, it's fun to watch a product be made and then buy it. I get that. But it was more of like the leathercraft community, people making their own stuff that were engaging in the videos were also buying stuff. And that was really confusing to me. And I had a hard time kind of navigating what that looked like. And I just decided I'm going to keep leaning into YouTube. And that was kind of like the thing that sent me into this world of like, being a little bit more like resourceful and trying to provide for the leathercraft community as opposed to just putting out products. But I just wanted to keep, I guess what happened was that, like, in the end, I felt like when I served that market as opposed to customers who bought my wallet, I got a lot more out of that other side. It's way more rewarding to me to work with people and engage with people and kind of like hear their stories rather than just like selling someone a wallet and never hearing from them again. So it's a tough line to draw. But with that being said, the majority of our product sales, like, I just want to be totally open with this. The majority, like, if you looked at a pie chart of our revenue, it's still about 70-75% is just product sales. So anyone that's accusing us of like, they're not a real brand, they're just making money by talking about being a brand, then, I'll pull out like an actual chart of our revenue at some point if I need to. But yeah, the majority of our sales is still products. And so it's interesting that I spend so much time on the other side of it because it's not as fruitful, but it's way more rewarding to me. And so that's why I keep doing it. It's so much fun for me. Like, I get so much out of it. And in the end, dude, I had this thought. I had kind of like a revelation the other day. I was like, you've heard me talk about it before, like rising tide lifts all ships, whatever. And I 100% believe that. I really think that even if every single person in the leathercraft community that wanted to build a brand and start selling their work also did what I did and started documenting the process of learning leathercraft, filmed their process of making their products, like started selling the patterns that they were coming up with, all this kind of stuff. The same exact thing I'm doing. I think that if every single person did that, we'd have a much more fruitful, abundant community, and it would also help their business. And so like, I didn't even mention it in the online course, but at this point I'm like thinking, I'm like, that should probably be a good approach for people, at least in this very specific craft. Like, if you want to grow a brand in the craft, in the leather world, I think you should be documenting every second of your process and your, you know, why you chose this hardware and why you're using this tool and all that kind of stuff, because it's valuable on so many different levels. It allows people to connect to your products, but it allows other people to learn. And then you can also sell your unique designs and your patterns. And to me, I just see it being something going full circle. And I don't think it has to be this one or the other, like, oh, you either sell products or you sell this. Like, I think that just being part of the craft is what's important, and helping people and making stuff that people like, it all goes full circle and is very rewarding to me. So yeah, I guess that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm leaning into this concept of just giving freely. I'm trying to think less about how can I make money off of this, and more just like, I want to provide value. And I think that without stressing about the dollars and cents, I think that if I keep providing value and giving freely, my family is going to be taken care of, and my business will stay sustainable. So I'm kind of putting some faith into that concept, but that's kind of where I'm at now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's beautifully said. I think that there's something else that you probably are very aware of that's happening with you doing it too, is I think, you know, people buy, like, they rather buy from a person than from like a brand or like a company, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think you've done such a really good job of, like, I felt like I've known you forever.
That's awesome, dude.
We've not talked for much more than an hour, but
yeah,
I feel like I've known you forever because of how you just put yourself on screen, and you bring your full self and your whole like life to the screen. Of course, obviously a lot of things happen that aren't on, you know, displayed on social media or whatever, but I think that you've done an awesome job of just, like, you know, we feel like we know who Parker is of Stock and Barrel. Like, and I think that's been a challenge for me, because I was working, like, my essentially leading up to going full-time, I was working like 12 hours a day between my full-time job, the family situation, just being a dad, and then like coming in, turning on the lights in the workshop, and like banging out straps from, you know, 8 o'clock to like 11 midnight, whatever. And like, that was my like day in, day out for like months. And it was like, I'm not putting myself on screen. Like, I don't have time. It's like kind of the, like,
I get that.
And the excuse a little bit, but also just like legitimately the challenge. But I feel like this is one of those things where it's like, I really would like to have people like understand who Todd and Megan of Clever Supply Co. are, and like get to know who we are as a brand and as a company, but as a family as well. And it's just a tough line to walk, especially when I think you make the time to do it. So there is a way to do it, but
it's hard.
We found ourselves in a situation where, you know, we're just trying to get orders out within 2 weeks, you know, with, you know, well over 150 in the queue kind of situation. And so it's like, you know, I have to spend all my time as wisely as I can on production. So it's like, how do I plan out like putting myself out there more? And I love this because I feel like, okay, it's like I can grab a chunk of time, hit record, hit live, you know, go live.
Yeah, there's no editing. Yeah.
People can see me, and then there's no editing. There's no post work afterwards, which I mean takes up so much time when you're editing like a video for YouTube. It's more polished or whatever it is. So anyways, I say all that to say I think you've done a really good job of just with the stuff that you're doing and you're focusing on. You're putting yourself out there, and we get to know who Parker is.
Thank you.
I think that's just awesome. I mean, it's cool that I feel that way, that I've known you for a long time without knowing you that well.
Thanks, dude. But that's like one of the best compliments I could get. Honestly, that means a lot, because it is one of the hardest things to do. And like, I think there's a weird thing happening with like social media, and that like, I don't know how involved the other people are into this, but I feel like I'm constantly consumed by it. But like, you know, Instagram kind of came out and said like, we're not a photo sharing app anymore. Like the days of just like being able to just post a cool picture of your product every couple months, and like being able to actually engage with the active audience like that are long gone. It's a different landscape now. And We know short form video is like taking over. It's gone. I don't know how long it'll last, but like it's everything right now. It's basically like people are craving just being able to connect. And so I totally like, I kind of walk this line. I think I know a lot of people that I talk to on a daily basis in the Facebook group and all kinds of stuff. It's just like, I can't put my face on camera. And I totally get that, because I don't see myself as like having a lot of confidence. And it was always really hard for me to like break through that, like being on camera. And there have been a lot of times where I probably didn't need to be on camera, but I was. And then there are times where like I was too scared to, and I avoided it and might have shot myself in the foot because I didn't. But I think like in the end, that emotional attachment and connection, you know, like someone might be shopping on pictureline.com looking for straps, but then they scroll on, they see Clever Supply, and they go, oh, I think I remember seeing that guy on Instagram. In fact, yeah, I really liked it. I saw him and his wife making this on a workbench, like working together, having fun, listening to music, like whatever it is. And I really connected with that. And I like, that's the strap I'm going to get, because I love their story, and I want to be that connection. Big companies don't even have the opportunity to fake that kind of stuff. They can't even fake it if they try. And so I feel like we have to really lean into it and try hard to embrace it, even though it's hard, dude. It's really hard. And we're all just like trying to figure it out. But yeah, you guys do a great job though, dude. I love your content. The photography is just phenomenal. Everything you do is just, it's so much fun following you.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. It's you guys got to keep it up, because you're doing awesome stuff. And sometimes, like, I know there's a lot of ups and downs, but like sometimes just hanging on and just sticking with it is like the best advice you can get. I think the way you guys are set up, the products you're putting out, everything you're doing, I think if you just keep doing it, you guys are going to be through the roof, dude. I mean, I'm not qualified to be making predictions like that, but I'm just saying, I think you're doing a great thing, and I want to see you keep it up.
Well, thank you.
Is there anything specific you want to plug or like dive into before we jump off here?
Man, I will say before we jump off, I would like to, if there's any photographers in the house, I would like to just see what you're shooting. Oh,
yeah.
While we talk for another minute or two, what in the comments, if you're still on and you're a photographer, even if it's with your iPhone, I want to know what you're shooting with. Just tell me your camera, and we'll come back and we'll read through some of those in a minute.
That'd be awesome.
We'll give it like a minute. But
Josiah's in here. I know he's a
good guy.
Guy.
Yeah. Josiah's a good dude. Love what you're doing too, man. I've been watching your journey for a little bit ever since you reached out, and it's been really cool. Man, I'm trying to think, like, what's one more quick topic we could dive into that you're excited about? Anything coming to mind?
Yeah, dude, it's so funny because I should have actually written them down, but I had this huge list of questions that I wanted to ask you before I jumped on. But it's funny because in general, I don't really like these to feel like a question answer interview. I just like to chat and hang out. So like that's how this has felt. It's been really fun. And that's a cool thing, dude. When you think about it, the fact that like we've talked once on the phone, but like other than that, we don't have a ton of history, and it's cool that two guys like us can hop on and basically talk like we've been friends for years. So I don't know what there is to it, but like the community, the social media did it. I don't know what it is, but yeah, this whole like live stream thing, dude, it's been so much fun being able to connect with people like you, and you specifically.
100%, man.
Let's see. So we got a few cameras coming in. Walter Farnham says he's got a Nikon F3 and D3. Solid kit. Lakota Fox has got a Sony A7S III. That's a heavy hitter.
Yeah, it is. That's awesome.
Good for some low light photography right there. South Texas Rovers got a Canon 20D, like an old school.
Awesome. Jeffrey
Joseph, he's a good friend. I'm just trying to figure out photography, but I use my iPhone 12 and Canon SL1. Dude, that's great, man. Sometimes iPhone 12 is like the best camera you can have because it's always on you.
Yep, 100%.
Fan of that. Yeah, that's like speaking about like getting yourself on camera, like some of the best performing content. I don't like talking about like that and like too much in terms of numbers, but I am a little bit of an analytical guy. I like to know what works so I can keep doing it. But like some of the best content that we do is when I just like have my iPhone out and I'm filming like my wife shipping,
Right.
or like we just do like a really raw thing where it's just like, I'm going to film this whatever last minute without putting any thought into it. And those videos are the ones that go bananas, like on Reels and TikTok and stuff. So just,
awesome.
yeah, in case anyone's sitting out there going,
that.
yeah, it's a thing, man.
True behind the scenes. People want to feel like they're right there. But
yeah, like it's hard because like for guys like us, we're both pretty creative and we actually enjoy photography.
Right.
So, you know, like it's hard to let that go. Like I love applying a preset to a raw photo and the tweaking it and playing around with it. And it sucks because like some of my best, you know, my photos that have the most likes are the ones that I just like pulled my iPhone out and snagged. But I don't know what that means, you know, because I don't think we should do away with good cameras and good photography. It's huge. It's, you know, that's where real creativity comes out. But in terms of social media, it's kind of funny.
All right. 2 things I got for you. 1, Walter Farnham, reach out to me, follow me on Instagram. I'm going to send you a strap. You were the first person to respond with what camera you use. I'd love to send you a strap. So find me on Instagram, Clever Supply Co. And let's get your address and we'll send you a camera strap.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you for doing that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I bet he's going to be stoked.
Josiah asked an awesome question, and I kind of want to pick your brain about it. Maybe this could be like our wrap-up question.
Okay, yeah.
Does your business mind ever shut off? And I feel like there's a couple things there. Like I have a value that this is aspirational, mind you. So I say aspirational because I do not do it well. I mean, me and my wife, like real talk, we kind of had like a little bit of an argument kind of due to some of this. Like, does your business mind, do you shut it off? Like, how do you kind of like turn it off, rest well? But like a vision or like a value of mine for the brand is like to go big and go home. And it's not go big or go home, but go big and go home. And it's like this idea that like you know, you should be able to like lean in fully to the business, to your dreams, to pursue like what your heart desires, but also like there should be able to be a way to like find a balance where you can still like spend time with the ones you love and not have to like sacrifice it all to like, you know, make your dreams come true. It shouldn't have to be an either or. It should be like a yes and kind of thing. And I think that's the harder path. Like, I think it's hard. It's like, I know there's a quote out there. Someone said it's like, you know, no success in business can make up for like a failure at home or something like that. And that's kind of like, that resonates with me because
that's
it's like
beautiful.
When we are, you know, you and I and most of the people that work in leather really probably work out of their home or something attached to their home. Like I'm in my garage, single car garage.
Yeah.
And so it's like, there's just all they have to do is just reach, you know, into the next room and I'm at work or like, you know, or not. And so it's just one of those things where I'm just kind of curious to hear from you how do you manage like as a business owner and stuff like that, like working hard and then like, do you have like a philosophy for resting hard or like resting well and like, and I'm again, first to admit it, I don't do it super well. I think there's times when I strike that balance and I can feel at peace because I'm like, okay, we're in a healthy spot, like, and I can let go and I can like be intentional and present with my family. But to answer your question, Josiah, it's really hard to turn off the business mind, to turn it off because my brain wants to tinker, wants to do stuff all the time. I think Justin was mentioning that, like, you know, it's just like no other option but to like be doing something or be thinking about like what the next project is or whatever. Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that? You've been doing this for a little while, and what are your successes? What are your failures? Where are they at?
I have a lot of thoughts on that stuff. I am glad it's being talked about more though. Like I don't know where I saw it, but there's a couple different posts or videos that I saw recently where someone was talking about how we need to stop romanticizing the idea of like work, grind till you're blue in the face, can't work anymore. Like, you know, up at 4 a.m, like answering emails, that kind of thing. It's definitely romanticized a little bit in like the Gary V type world where it's just like,
Yep.
and yeah, and it kind of creates a little bit of anxiety in me, and just it's like if I'm not hustling, then am I failing? And so I don't know, man. I don't know what triggered it exactly, but I've been doing a lot better at that more recently. Like I've been through different phases. There have been times where like I was really failing at home, like particularly 2016, 2017 was probably like my worst years because I remember I was fulfilling the Kickstarter campaign and I didn't have any help. It was just me sitting at a sewing machine from 6:30, 7 a.m. till about 10:30 p.m. And, my eyes bugging out. I literally thought I was going to die because I was entering like major levels of depression that I'd never experienced before. I was unhappy. I felt like I'd completely missed the boat of, like why I was even doing this to begin with. And it went on way too long, in my opinion. And so in the last few years, I feel like I've really been able to like allow myself to spend more time with the family. And like now I feel like it's a victory for me when I'm just like sitting at home with the kids or like out on a bike ride. To me, it's a huge win. And I try and see it that way now, as opposed to like, oh, I'm letting my business down. Because of course, like I think anyone would say this, I would hope, but like I would much rather be successful in my family as a dad and a husband than I would be in business. I would hope most people would say that, maybe not, but like it's hard to experience that like in the moment when I'm on a bike ride with my kids and I have this like heavy feeling in my heart like I'm failing somehow with my business, like I should be working harder. And sometimes I look at these other guys, like there's some people that are single and just like they put all their time into the business, like 100% of their time, they don't even go to sleep. They, and even just like talking to someone like Bill, man, and not to talk down on Bill from DLS, but he's a hardworking dude and he's figured it out. But I went and visited him a couple times in Georgia, and that dude, he set up a bed in his office because he would go to bed at like 3 a.m. and then wake up at like 5 or 6 and get back to work. And this was a regular thing for him. I think he's still doing that. Wow. And I'm like, dude, this isn't healthy. Like you're gonna die, man. And he would always like go home and tuck his girls into bed and like do the important stuff too. But like, I've really struggled with that, dude. And so like, there's a few things I've been trying to prioritize. Like the motorcycle stuff was a big thing for me. In 2019. So I was like you, I rode a lot when I was a kid, and then I used to race and everything, but then I stopped in like 2008. And I haven't touched a motorcycle again till like just recently. And so I wanted to start racing again. I took my boy to the track and we watched the race. I was like, we got to get back into this. This is so much fun. And ever since I've been back into riding, it did something for my mental health, dude. I don't know how to put a finger on it, but awesome. Just being able to like escape for a Saturday and ride a motorcycle just does something really good to your soul. So little things like that. Been trying to exercise more, like, going to the gym every now and then and just go for little runs helps a lot. But it's more of a mental thing for me. I've noticed, it's like, even if you allow yourself plenty of time to be with your family, you have to figure out a way to shut the brain off, which is kind of like what Josiah's original question was. It was like, I'm not good at that, man. I'm not. Like, it's hard to shut the brain off, and I got to figure it out. I've thought about doing some therapy to like work through some of that, but I'm glad at least it's being talked about more though.
Yeah. I think it needs to be normalized, like that whole conversation of just like work-life balance and like kind of pushing against hustle culture a little bit. Like that's how this business was built, definitely. So I'm not like knocking it, and anybody that's in the room, it's like, that's me right now. Like keep doing you, but like also figuring out like where those healthy boundaries are and where like for sustainability, because burnout sucks too. Like if it's not you failing your family, it could be you burning yourself out, and that's really a rough place to be and a hard place to be at, and pulling yourself out can be really difficult, and finding someone to talk to. But I feel like exercise has helped for me. Like I think one thing I picked up that you said that I wonder if this is like universally true is like, I think like a hobby and like exercise, like those can like work as like mental switches a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
because that's the
kind of
only
like,
time that I truly shut my brain off. You know, we talk about
'cause-
like
yeah,
when do you shut it off? Like if I'm riding a motorcycle, there's no way I'm thinking about the orders that need to go out that day or whatever. So
yeah. And it's easier for me to like, even if I'm done with a run I like to run. I try to run
oh,
like
cool.
a couple times a week. And I did that in high school. It was one of those things, mental health kind of thing, got back into
Yeah.
it, pandemic. But I do find that it's easier to keep the business side shut off after a workout or something like that too. Like it's not like, oh, I'm done running, so now I'm immediately back into work. Like it's easier just to like somehow I'm pulling the plug out in some capacity, and it's just easier to like break from it a little bit. So anyways, Josiah, to your question, I would say find an outlet or some sort of mental switch that you enjoy that helps you if
Yeah.
that's a challenge that you're trying to solve. I assume it is if that's
Yeah.
the question
Yeah.
you're asking, but
Yeah,
it's a
for
real
sure.
challenge. It's a healthy one to talk about.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. We got to talk about it more for sure. Hi, Mo Muck says, hi guys. Thanks for the great content and greetings from Munich, Germany.
Wow.
Right on, man. Thank you.
Right on.
We Quilt Studio says, I just want to thank you so much for this content. I'm struggling with how I present my content, and this is exactly what I needed to hear. Right on.
Oh, awesome. Right
really
on.
cool. Jeffrey Joseph says, family first. Totally.
Cheers to that.
Can't agree more. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. This was an absolute pleasure. It's been so much fun, like getting to know you over the years and being able to chat. So I hope that we can keep it up, and I'd love to have you on again sometime.
Yes, would love that. Thanks again, man. Really appreciate everything you're doing and love what you're doing with this. So
thank you,
cheers,
dude.
man.
Yeah,
have
cheers.
A good
And
Friday. Have a good weekend. And
you
thanks everybody
too.
for listening. Yeah.
You too. Yeah, take care, man. And everyone go follow Clever Supply Co. if you haven't already. Beautiful stuff. Go get a camera strap. It's awesome.
Yeah, and follow Stock and Barrel if you don't already.
Yeah, come on. What are you doing? Sleeping on that? Dang.
Cool.
All right, man. Well,
All right,
thank you
man.
for jumping on. Have a good one.
Cheers. See ya.
Bye. All right, that's it, guys. We awesome conversation with Todd there. He's a great dude. Some people you can just tell there's just, it's not even so much of what they say, but how they say it. He's just a really good guy. And yeah, it's a pleasure having him on. So thank you for jumping on today. Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to touch on. I don't think we have anything major to update. Turns out when you do this once a week, yeah, you kind of run out of stuff to update on. But here's something we could update you on. There's Michael's been working hard on going through all of our scrap leather, and you can kind of see it right here, but there's piles of boxes right here that are full of scraps. He's been going through all of our scraps that we just keep collecting. I wish we'd been doing this over the years because I've thrown away so much leather, but it was just like taking over. Didn't have the capacity to like do the right thing with it. And so I'm really glad he's been putting the time into this. He's cutting up, filling up the boxes with scraps, and we're just gonna list them on the site and start selling them. We have a lot more than I thought. I mean, he's up to like 15, 20 boxes right now, and it's full of like 3 to 4 ounce veg tan, mostly veg tan stuff. Not just natural, we got like some bridal and latigo and all kinds of other stuff in there too. Some belt grade leather, some strap stuff is in there. It's just going to be a mix. That's one I told him. I was like, just do it totally random. Who cares? But he's actually been very thoughtful and particular about it, and throwing in like a mix of weights in each box. So it'll be a lot of value jam packed in there. And just keep an eye on Instagram. That's probably where I'll post about it. We'll have it posted up on the site so you can buy it. And haven't nailed down a price yet. I guess I'm kind of curious to know what that's worth, because I'd probably be fine with just giving them away, but there's actually a lot of time involved, like with Michael going through and cutting it up and organizing it, and then shipping it. And there's some time involved. So we'll put it up for something fairly reasonable, and should be fun to mess around with at least. Jim Jenkins says, thanks for the video. Appreciate it. Thanks for jumping on, Jim. Always appreciate your support. Walter says, great content. Walter, I don't know if you heard. Maybe you did. Well, he asked another question up there. Walter, you won. Oh, yeah, he said thank you. So you must have heard it. But, yeah, you won a little strap giveaway from from Todd. So that's going to be awesome, man. He told me he wanted to give away a strap during the stream, and I was excited that he remembered, because I almost forgot. Thanks, Walter. Appreciate that comment. Josiah says great answers. Yeah, and thank you for asking that, dude. Honestly, I know it sounds kind of mushy and chummy here, but it's definitely the kind of stuff that I think should be talked about more, because you just don't always get that kind of stuff on social media. You don't see like the hard stuff that's, we're struggling to get through. So I guess a win for these live streams. Another great one, and thank you both for your time. Thank you, Jeffrey. We'll hop off now, but thanks for jumping on, guys. We'll see you on the next one next Friday. Let me see who we got coming down the line. It's going to be, it's going to be Nate from Leatherworks, Minnesota. Awesome guy, awesome company. It'll be another fun one. So make sure to be there. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Notice a lot of people that are here aren't even subscribed to the channel. So subscribe and then make sure that you hit the bell so that you're notified when the next one goes live. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later. Bye.